Club. This is the internet's best and most interactive book club for friends and fans of literature, wine, and community. I'm Rachel Hine, and joining me are my co-hosts, who are definitely not messing with me, host of Animation Investigation, Hector Navarro, and Geek Bombs Mod Carrot, repping her Gryffindor Reds. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm kind of in my Ravenclaw. It's
Oh, you look like you're in
Luna
the astronomy
Ravenclaw.
tower.
I guess I have
Yeah.
my Slytherin green on today.
Yeah, but
Didn't
you're a
plan for that.
Huffpuff.
I'm a Huffpuff.
I think you're a Griffin Puff.
Griffin Puff?
And
I'll
I
take
think
that.
you're a... I know. What's the combo?
The combo is a super Slytherin, is what Maud is. That's what she is. She doubles down on Slytherin.
What is it? Griffin...
My actual
Griffin?
next house
Slither?
is Ravenclaw. You know, in the breakdown?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my next big
Griffin
chunky-
Claw?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll accept that. Yeah, and I feel like I'm a Raven...
Puff.
I think Puff. Yeah. But I do get Slytherin as my second one.
More than me?
Yeah.
So I brought my wand along. I've been to the Wizarding World and I had to pick. I didn't get it selected for
Florida
me.
or California?
Cali.
I
Okay.
want to go to the Florida one
Okay,
so
me too.
bad.
And what do you guys think it is? Chat. I mean, you got a 5-minute head start than these guys.
It's a...
But which one is it?
I think it's a
It's
Death Eater wand.
Quite. Oop.
Is
Firm.
it-
It's long.
Unicorn
and it's got
hair.
a nub. It's got this.
Is it McGonagall?
Which one is it? No, someone in the chat will get it.
Mary
Someone
Poppins.
will. That was very much.
Merlin from
It's
Disney.
not
wand is-
Dumbledore's. It's not Luna's. It's not Hermione's. It could be. I mean,
It's not
the
Bellatrix's.
logical one is Ron's.
It's Ron's.
It's
isn't it?
Ron's.
It's Ron's.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I figured.
Ron's wand.
Well, I thought
Ron's
that
wand.
it would. I thought you were trying to trick us.
No.
Because that was my first
This is
guess.
the most
Because you love
authentic.
Ron.
Yeah. I think we established that I am the Ron of the trio.
Yeah.
So I went by that.
Harry.
Yeah.
Hermione, but can I have
Yeah.
a dash of Luna? I'm not quite
Yes.
as type
For
A as
sure.
Hermione, even though I
Yes.
love her. I'm a sleepy.
You know, we are
Sleepy baby.
like Rey, Finn, and Poe, where they have qualities of Han, Luke, and Leia
Yeah.
intermixed. So like, I'll be Harry, but I'm like, I also got a little bit of
Harry.
Ron.
I would say
little
like
bit of
Harry,
Hermione,
like
Neville, I
Fred,
don't know.
yeah, Fred, like
Fred, some Fred.
yeah.
Oh,
George.
I'm like so
Dad.
equal parts like Leia and Han, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
another conversation.
You are.
No, but yeah, I would
There's so
say.
much sexual tension between yourself. That's
Oh
yeah.
it's good to be me.
Welcome everyone. Everyone in the chat is sharing what house they are in as well. Miss Necromancer's a Slitherclaw. Wolfchild MDB is a Huffleclaw. Oh my God. Dr. Shire, Mod Red Dog. We're gonna get to that. Davi's death to us all last week. She's so Slytherin.
I thought that was a really powerful moment to share with everyone, and I was honoring Dobby's
That's
existence.
true. I was the
by
one that was
doing
just
it.
like dunking on Dobby. I'm
Yeah.
like, he sucks.
Duncan Dobby. for
Even
sure.
after
Yes.
all this time.
Always. Dunk on Dobby? Always,
well.
yes.
Noise.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to recount our houses because when we started this
Yes.
journey, you said 14 months ago?
Yeah.
Because it was
Wow.
7 books every second month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hey,
it's-
Ravenclaw, you should. that's your.
that's why I'm
Your
saying math. No, I was good at history and language,
Just like Hermione.
but not maths.
Whoa.
So we did some quizzes before.
Yeah.
That was really fun to see which of our houses, if we had houses, you would be in. And then we also had some house mottos.
Oh no, I'm bugging you all. I took the test again, and I'm officially Gryffindor. So
I believe you. He's
Yeah.
the one who does it.
no, everyone still gives me.
Slytherins lie. Come on. We know this.
No, I just look.
You know what? Screw you all. I'd make a great Slytherin. Okay?
Yeah, you-
You would.
But
Really
that's
good.
just not my house. So
She
which house do you
chooses
belong to?
Gryffindor.
Which
Yeah.
house do you belong to? You Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin? I think I mean, I really did have a think about that. And the thing with Slytherin is that they're willing to step on others to get ahead. And that's just something that fundamentally to my core
I feel like
cannot
that is a nurture versus nature type thing. I think that they are clever. I think that they want to succeed. And I think that can be manipulated, especially from a young age, into that sort of. Imagine if you ended up in that house and you didn't want to go to be in another house, or your family was part of it, whatever.
Like Harry Potter's son?
Yeah, if you're surrounded by all of this and that's what you know and that's how you survive, like, I'm not justifying it, I don't think it's okay, but I do think that it is strange how all of them are so, like, I wish there was like one chill Slytherin.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why we got an entire bad book that we don't talk about. They were trying to break that because Slytherin merchandise was at an all-time low, and they had to make some bank.
Oh my God,
That
I
might
can't
be
even
true.
talk about.
I want to
the
read
play.
that play now
I
so
really-
bad.
I
No, I don't want to
honestly
read
do
it.
too,
I want
'cause
to
it'll-
watch it. I want to watch the play.
Yeah, I've heard.
Because I'm the weird guy that didn't listen to Hamilton. Even though everyone's like, you
No,
gotta
I
listen
listened
to it.
to a
I'm
little
like,
bit, but I avoided it for
I'm
a
like,
long time.
but I'm like, but I want to see the art the way it's intended to be, which is like you have to go and actually see the play.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's fine. There's only like 3 words that are not in the album.
Oh,
They're in the
wow,
play or
really?
something like that. And I was still like, yeah, but still, it's the
and
principle
it's not
of the
like
thing.
there's a lot of dancing. They just march
Right.
around a lot.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's the same with
America.
the Cursed
I'm
Child.
sorry. Well.
It was designed as a
Like
play.
the music's great, but the
Yeah.
the production.
Yeah.
is a little
Yeah, it's a little underwhelming when you go see it, but it's.
I was also
but,
in the last possible release.
Yeah, I think I was too,
For
and I didn't bring
extremely expensive.
binoculars. Yeah, that was my. But so lucky to go see it. I'm so blessed. But
Wait, I want to hear before we dive into it
Yeah.
because I definitely want to talk about that. But we have to remember because we have to cherish these months we've shared
Oh,
together.
are we doing the final
of
count?
our houses.
Hey, the
What
majority
are-
of people belong to Gryffindor. My people, 38%.
and Raven. I feel like a book club has to be filled with at least
Ravenclaws.
a huge chunk of
I agree.
Ravenclaws.
Yeah, for sure.
The 9% Slytherin is just Maud.
I'm right here.
So House Maud, what was your motto?
Ow. I'm House Maud, hear me pour.
that's the best one. That's the best one. It's a good motto.
House Rachel, tale as old as wine.
That's pretty good too. Damn it,
What was yours?
I don't remember.
Well, Thrash,
I
I just
do.
got one for you.
What was it?
House
What's
Hector. No, you don't. I will.
That's what it was. That's right. It was House Hector.
I will strike you
Wazza.
down and be more powerful. Yeah. No, Thrash Odin says House Hector.
Oh, I love that.
Movie por favor. Movie por favor.
Pour,
Movie
like
pour, for
pouring.
Like when you go to ArcLight and they give
Yeah.
you a movie pour of wine, and
every
I'm like,
time.
yep. Please,
You're like,
please.
let me have it a second
Yep,
one.
you know,
No, I'm
it's
just-
real good.
That's a good
you know
one.
how much I didn't like Baby Driver? I knew was when then in the middle of it, I was like, you know what?
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna go
thirsty.
get another movie. pour.
I am not drunk enough right
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to unpack with this book, so
Let's get into
I
it.
have
Well, can you guys fill me in
feelings
on what you touched on last week in our previously
touched
on
on
besides
emotions.
mocking Dobby's
Yes.
death?
Yes. Emotions. I can't remember.
I do. We really had I wish you were here. We
I know,
really
me too.
unraveled the female role.
Yes.
Um,
It hit Maud in waves.
Whoa.
Like somebody in the chat mentioned like the
Oh,
depiction
Double
of
Geek Girl.
female
or
characters.
Miss Necromancer. Miss
It was
Necromancer.
either one of them. All of a sudden started talking about the depiction of female characters in the book, and it
Once they hit adulthood. So it's like as soon as they leave Hogwarts,
they're married.
They become married and
They're
they have
having
kids.
kids.
Yeah, I hate
and,
that.
and
Yeah.
they basically are in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the fate or sort of
Or
like the
they're
end goal
unmarried at
for many
Hogwarts.
or
women.
they're well, that's why
Tonks,
not-
great character, and then all of a sudden she's in love with Lupin, and then
Everyone-
she has a baby, and then
everyone-
that's the character.
I didn't
she
realize
dies a
how
mother.
many.
Dude, that's what was hitting Maud. Like,
yeah.
and she was like, "Oh my god, oh my god,
Oh.
my god." And we were like,
Yeah.
the only single adult competent woman was like,
McGonagall.
McGonagall,
not an adult
yes,
yet.
but
The only saving
but
grace was Ginny.
Ginny. But then she grows up. We
She
now
grows
know
up and-
she
yeah.
marries Harry. But then we were like, God, what's the name? The Toad Woman. I'm blanking on.
Dolores Umbridge.
Umbridge was like the example we came up with, and you're like, God, she's a villain, and she's just always described it as
And
being.
McGonagall's kind of a
Yeah.
she's cool and we love her, but she's depicted as a very that's what I hated the most. Tied with denying the romantic chemistry between the two lead characters was number one. But number two,
Between Harry and Hermione.
no, in the Cursed Child.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
But the other one was, without spoiling anything, a depiction of a beloved female character, if they somehow ended up alone, made them like an evil shrew.
Is that what happened to McGonagall?
No, I won't. But it's
Oh, no! I forbid Cursed Child discussion
it's horrible
on this show.
But that's the same mentality of like either it's like the Madonna or the
Yes.
Yes.
I hate to point this to J.K. Rowling, but is it because of her background? She was like this was like sort of her first major
She's
works
clearly
as an
a
author.
little tone deaf when it comes to social issues outside of the very basic.
Yes, and her idea of like,
Even
okay,
back
well,
then, I feel like.
well, everyone's sort of end goal is to get married and have kids. That was part of her life, right? She was like a mom, like that.
I mean, a
like,
lot of people think that. That's a conversation
true.
I have
Damn
very
it!
frequently.
I just crossed that line in my life.
of where people are talking. Oh, that it's happening. Oh, I'm sorry.
Expecto.
See, I'm waiting
Yeah.
for what's the year it's supposed to happen, because every time
don't
someone
know.
brings it up and I'm like, no, I don't think so.
For
They're
women,
like, oh, you
I don't
still
know,
have
25,
time. Yeah, I'm like,
29,
okay,
I don't
all
know.
right.
35 is considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Good thing
What
I'm
a terrible
25.
term.
That's true.
Good thing that I'm 25.
What else did you guys talk about? Ron
that's
came
pretty much it.
back. That's it. Just the.
Madam Hooch. I was thinking about that. Sorry, Double Geek Girl. Because it stuck with me, the role of women in the books, and I was like, man, thank God for Hooch. But
Yeah.
we only ever see
Minor character. She's a
PE,
minor
physical
character.
education. What do you guys
Yes.
call it? Gym.
The first book, really?
In the first
Gym,
book.
yeah.
And then you never have it again.
Yeah.
So Hooch, who knows what she does for
Yeah,
the rest
I
of the year.
know. And they only brought her for the one movie, right? With the cool spiky hair. She was cool.
I like that.
Now, also, are there any lesbians in the Wizarding world?
No gays.
Or gay people at all?
We need a bunch more gays.
Yeah,
only
lots
after
more.
the fact, and that's a whole other issue about this
That's
book series as
scandal.
well. But
Yeah.
look, the book series that takes place in the '90s and was written in the '90s and was being released then and then into the 2000s. You know, there are great videos and discussions about J.K. Rowling's like after the fact wokeness.
If she had
A
stuck
lot of-
with
you know,
that one thing,
which
as
one thing?
Dumbledore,
Dumbledore being gay,
and
yes,
saying
and
like
putting it
it's
onto the
because it
Jude
is
Law character,
heavily
yes.
implied.
I
I
agree.
read into it that
Yeah.
way, and so it was nice to have that confirmed. If she had stopped there,
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely. So
but
if
she
you,
has taken it to another level
Yes.
of like we don't. Not only do we not
pivot,
need or
sidestep.
want this, but it,
Yeah.
it actively
Mm-hmm.
undoes the work that you did.
And I don't think that it being a children's book is an excuse at all, because it really
Agreed.
did drift away from being a kid's book. You know, I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
people
into
can
it.
This is for
die and get
teenagers.
tortured.
This
Yeah.
is to be, I
Hermione
think,
got bloody tortured. That was rough.
That was really
hard.
tough, yeah. And she was,
Absolutely.
the way it was depicted in the book too, of her trying to act like she was okay, and clearly she was just really like in shock still while
Yeah.
that was all happening.
Yeah.
Miss Necromancer understands. It sucks. I'm 38, and people have been telling me that I changed my mind and want kids. Nope, still hate them, and that's your right. That is your right. I'm just waiting. I guess it's the same thing as my dad when I was younger. Anytime I would have my mind made up about something, he'd be like, "Just wait till you're
wait."
25." No, because your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25. And so when I hit 25, I was like, "Hey, Dad,
guess what?
fully developed," and he was like, "Well, it's a rough estimate," and he still makes that joke. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I guess not. So we've got the locket. What happened in that section?
Oh, so this is the thing. For the first 3/4 of this book, they are just trying to destroy one Horcrux with however many,
And then
3
they-
more to go, and then they have 30 pages to finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So this last section moves, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Too fast.
This
Too fast.
Is
This is
awesome.
why, yeah.
Too
I
it's
loved it.
freaking fast.
See,
I loved it.
I like it. I
Yeah.
do think
No,
that.
do you know why? Because I did not get to say goodbye to some of the characters that I had to say goodbye
But
to.
that's how
What-
it. That's how it would be. That's how death. I'm sorry.
I like to say
I know
that,
that was really real, but it's true.
I think that the Battle of Hogwarts is
It's-
as epic as it should be and deserves. And there's so many things that make sense that when you're reading it and you start to realize where we're going with it, you're like, yes, it had to have ended at Hogwarts. It's always about, it's always been about Hogwarts, and Harry's tied to this place.
And
so,
Voldemort's.
And Voldemort's and Dumbledore, so it has to be there. And the way that J.K. wraps everything up with character stuff. I mean, I told you guys, we were texting, and I was like, the moment when Percy shows up, I'm like, this is such a great moment.
It's so, and
It's
you're
so
like,
rewarding.
oh, like you, because so much has
Yes.
happened.
Yes, absolutely. You're
Oh
catching
no,
up.
I would have been like, bugger off, Perce.
The way
Pick up
that,
a wand and do your thing. But that, you don't just show up at the 11th.
yeah.
Oh my God, not even the 11th
No,
hour.
well,
It's
Ron
the
wanted
second
to
before.
punch him and
yeah,
fight him. And
no,
the
totally.
way that he came out, he was like, I was a
But it's
git.
emotional for
I
the
was
parents.
Yes,
Like
that's
that's
what-
what
I get that.
that's what got me is their reaction to him.
No,
It's
mine
awesome.
was okay. We're actually asking you right now in the poll which death at the Battle of Hogwarts was the saddest for you. Was
Oh.
it Fred Weasley? Was it Remus and Tonks? Was
Fred.
it Severus Snape? Or was it Harry Potter?
Fred.
I think that because we got a little bit more behind it. You got the preemptive like lead up to it,
Yeah.
the actual event,
It's Frozen.
the aftermath of it. Like it was a really invested
That
death
part
moment.
was-
But Remus and Tonks is walking past a room and seeing a
Yeah.
couple of bodies and then needing to move on.
Yeah.
But when Remus came back,
I
Yep.
know. Oh,
Baz.
all of-
Brutal.
yeah, that sequence, that entire.
I'm so sorry. So am I. I was like, God, and I'm walking my dog and I'm just crying. I cried a lot.
That was
actually.
great.
in there. There's a lot of tears.
I remember the last couple lines of Fred's death so well, and when I
'Cause it's
heard
just-
it again,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful writing, and it's so sad. It's just, you just never expect that because they're so full of life
And so
and they're
fresh.
so connected. And it's hard enough at the beginning when he loses his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, we're still dealing with Moody and Hedwig then as well.
yeah, and it's Fred's eyes stared without seeing.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold
the
on, real
ghost
quick.
of his
You're gonna
last
s- you're
laugh
gonna-
still etched on his face. That's just an intense
Yeah.
line. It's a good
Yeah.
line.
I read Dobby, and
Yeah.
I'm a witch of the evil variety. You start reading about Fred's death.
Everyone already knows I'm a vampire. I'm not worried about it. You're the one who's like, I'm not Slytherin. I'm just like, I'm second Slytherin. I have no problem
I'm trying
with it.
to not be. I'm like so red. I
It
look
was
like I'm about to hit
beautiful
cheer
writing.
practice. Okay, go Gryffindor.
The thing about Tonks and Lupin that was great too was that having been reading these books for the first time, and then before I read the books, I'm watching the movie. And when we were halfway through or 3/4 into Deathly Hallows, thank you, I rewatched again, probably since it came out, the last movie in this Harry Potter series. And even though the movies don't go into Tonks and Lupin's relationship,
At
it's
all.
like a B or C plot, like it's not
Barely.
focused
They
on.
just like,
It's barely
they
hinted
come in
at,
the room and they're
for
like,
sure.
oh, you guys are together. We have news. And
There really is a moment that to me was for the book fans. The whole last movie to me is for the book fans because they're like, look, and we talked about this last week. We also said that the movies should not have been split into two.
No.
I take that back. Do you know why?
What?
Because of the fact that the
battle.
last film, the first film, I'll give you. The first film I was bored. The first one because the first section of the book is a lot of meandering. It's a lot of like,
And when it's
we need
over,
7
you're just like,
Horcruxes.
wait, it's done?
Yes, they killed
Yeah.
Dobby and Wade, it's done. But the last movie was so satisfying because not only do they wrap things up that have been happening in the movies, but because they took 2 hours and 10 minutes to really do this last quarter of the book because they give you these character moments. They show Lavender Brown's body. And even though the movie, she was in one movie, but me reading the books along
Yeah.
with this, I'm like, oh, Lavender, they got
Yeah.
her. Like
They make the movies better.
They do. They do. And again, and as I've been saying from the beginning, the movies for me have made these books better because they've enhanced them with the music, with the sounds of it, with the actors that I love. I mean,
I've become
Maggie Smith, McGonagall,
audiobook
you know what I mean?
convert for certain like I want to do our next book. That way I think there's certain genres like the thriller stuff, there's so many details and I read them
It's
so
all
fast.
first person.
Yeah, so
I've also
but this,
had
yeah.
the narrator wreck a book for me though. I can't.
Well,
get
yeah,
there.
it's Jim Dale is great.
We've got
It's- yeah.
Do you like the Harry Potter books or the
Books.
movies more?
Books.
89% the books are better. 0% say movies. 11% both equally. That's just dropped down to 10%. And then neither. You can get the truck out of here. So it is books at 88%.
Not
Hector.
surprised that it's books at 88%.
Well, it's called Alpha Book Club.
It's true. Yes,
This
yes,
is
yes.
a book club.
I still have
Books.
a theory that
Sorry, Vance
What?
1982 said according to Pottermore, George would later name his son after Fred.
of
Jesus
course,
Christ,
of
why?
course,
What?
of course, that's beautiful.
Fred is
That's
the
great.
saddest for me. Even with, I remember when I first read the books, I know that I was mad about Lupin.
Who did he marry?
And
They go to
Tonks.
school together too
Doesn't matter.
because life doesn't exist.
No, like
A nice
they're
woman
like,
that he had that
and
we don't know
also,
yet.
Why is parenting so rough that they have kids so soon after, and Harry
My
looks like he's 500 years
I
old?
know. I know.
He's Benjamin Butler. He's
Well, I mean, it said 19 years later, and I was like, well, as a Star Wars fan, you know what happened in 19 years in that trilogy?
What?
Obi-Wan Kenobi was, Ben was in Tatooine for 19 years.
Luke is
and he-
19.
and
he
we went from Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor to
Alec
Alec Guinness.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good point.
goodness, yeah. I was like, that 19 years is never good for
That's true.
the big franchises. Hoi.
Yeah. I like the movies more by a little bit, but I think that the books have enhanced my love of the
That's
film,
nuts to me.
and vice versa. I only say this because it does not surprise me that people that read the books before they see the movie love the books more.
No, but
I-
I'm surprised because I feel like a lot of people who haven't read the books
Mm-hmm.
didn't enjoy the movies because they didn't have the background
Yeah.
that
Well-
like similar to Veronica Mars, the movie where you
Sure.
like,
I
that
think.
one's a little
Listen,
more
I think that's a
intense
different thing.
about it, but-
I'll ask you: do you feel that people that watched a Harry Potter movie or a couple? Because it frustrates me when I meet people that are like, "I think I've seen a couple." I'm like, "How have you not seen all of them?"
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
only 8.
Well, that's how I feel
Like,
about people are like, I read the first 2. I'm like, and you
Yeah,
stopped?
Right. So with those same people,
liked 'em.
with people that kind
Maybe
of
they don't like redheads.
dip their toes into the Harry Potter universe with movies, but they never read the books, but then they were like, those people were not ever going to be involved in this world. Like it never hooked them.
No, I'm
so
talking about people who like genre movies, but I think that there is a lot after the first 2 movies because those pretty much include everything.
Sure.
I think from
All
like
I'm saying is that
4
if
on, they
there are
hop
people,
all over the place and you
Yeah.
forget who people are, and there isn't enough connective tissue in the movie itself. If you haven't read, that's what I've heard from a lot of people.
I disagree with that.
I mean, I don't know, 'cause
I was right, and you can't have that experience because you all read the books first, and so
Yeah.
you're going into it that way.
I always
Me being a
wanted
movie Harry Potter fan, like I bought all the movies on Blu-ray before I ever read any one of the books. I knew what the books
It's your first time you
possibly
finished.
first time what they had to
did
offer,
it.
but being a movie fan, for me, I tracked everything. Everything made sense for me. So
Yeah,
for
I mean,
me,
I don't
when
feel
when
that
I
like
meet
that,
people that
but-
go, oh, I think that. I think that whatever, if it doesn't grab them, all I'm saying is it's not surprising to me that people that are willing to invest the hours it takes to read the books aren't already so immersed in this lore that they're going to go, well, the books were better because they gave me more of the thing I've already bought into. And I think that for book fans, it's difficult to critique or judge or review the films for what they are versus what the books are, and kind of try to keep that separate.
I
like
think
it's all
that
connected.
I'm good
So they're
at
going
that
to go,
because
the
of
books.
my brain thing,
Oh yeah.
What's your brain thing?
where I can't,
You can't
visualize very like I can like it's not like blank, but I
fascinating. Yeah.
can't. I don't picture.
So you go to see the
them.
movie and you're
It's
like,
the
this is all
essence
new
of the, it's
visuals
the
for me.
It's like a feeling.
I get very upset.
Because everyone I know who's a book fan, not just of this but in general, has a hard time separating those. And I, in my mind, view they're such different mediums. You do have to make changes. Some of them are silly. Like some of them you're like, why
The
did they do
twins
this?
were shorter and stockier. That was what it said in the
Well,
first
they
book.
were
So when I
supposed to
sat
be
down and watched the movie, I was like,
Fred and George?
yep,
Being this way?
shorter.
See, my
and
complaint was that
stockier.
I
They're
always
the beaters.
thought of them as like really
That was a big one. I was just
hot
like,
dudes, like hot comedian
Mm-hmm.
boys in
babes.
school. Yeah, and so I
Charlie,
was like,
babe, Bill, super babe.
well, is it Bill or Charlie who's
Charlie's the dragon hunter. Bill's with Flo.
Bill is the one is Dom
Oh,
Domhnall?
Donal.
Donald?
Donald
Dom
Gleason.
I keep
Gleason.
forgetting that. Donald.
Yeah,
Donal.
Donald.
I love the
Yeah.
Gleason family.
Yeah.
But reading
They're
these
great.
books has made me appreciate the movies for what they are, and
Yeah.
how it's such a
And how you adapt something
God.
like
It's such
that,
a
yeah.
like people should study the Harry Potter movies for how to correctly adapt a book series. Truly, like even the books that are Goblet of Fire, which is so goddamn long, for them to be able to put that in a movie, I'm like that. I think that's the way you do it.
Guys, can I confess something?
Yeah.
You didn't finish Goblet of Fire.
No, I absolutely did, but I can't stop saying one particular part from the movie.
Oh yeah, the Dumbledore
Ooh,
part.
the Chinese fireball. Ooh. I do ooh like Barty Crouch all the time. All the time. And if I'll
love
drop
that.
something, and I'm like, I just dropped it. Ooh. Like,
Yes, I am talking about Aphantasia. I think the cast really makes it too. They're amazing. Someone in the chat was saying that Angelica marries George.
Angelina Johnson.
Angelina. Yeah.
Angelina
So,
Johnson.
and didn't in Goblet of Fire, didn't George just yell over the table?
Oi.
Oh,
Angelina.
dancing
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that was
cute.
cute.
She's
Super
like, all
cute.
right, yeah, fine, sounds
All right,
good.
let's get into
Yeah.
we can keep talking about the movie on
Yes.
Twitter.
Cool. If the
online,
Horcruxes are the biggest thing ever, and the Horcruxes are the whole point of the whole adventure, to have Ron and Hermione just duck off and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know. I like that they're
That could have
coming
been in the
into
first
their
half of the
own.
book.
So we've got let's run them all down. We've got the locket, which we start with. Tom Riddle's diary. Already got that.
Chamber of Secrets was destroyed.
Yeah,
Which
Mar-
locket? The locket that's in the middle of the lake
Yeah,
thing?
but
Okay.
they have to find the
That
real
was a
one
fake,
because that
which
was a
is-
fake.
Yeah, and that one was
that's the.
Mundungus had it, who was then it
Is
was
that the Slyth?
Slytherin
That's
Salazar's.
no,
Salazar
the
Slytherin's
locket
thing?
was something else, wasn't it?
I
No,
can't
that's what
remember.
Umbridge had around her neck.
Oh, that's what's
But that's
yeah,
from
that's
Mundungus.
Salazar.
Salazar Slytherin thing?
Tom
Okay,
Riddle's
got it.
diary.
Got it.
Marvolo Gaunt's ring.
Who Dumbledore destroyed that?
Yes, that's
And
how
that's
we
the
got
curse.
his
Got it.
hand. Well, I guess the diary is the first, right?
The very first one.
Yeah, and then but
Who's
the first one
Marvolo
of this.
Gaunt again?
That's
he's
Riddle's grandfather.
Riddle's grandfather, who was
a wizard or a
he was the
muggle?
pureblood,
Yeah, but
Pure
like
blood?
the
but a really
degenerate.
race. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
He thought that he was going to be like really cool because he didn't know where he came from, and then he was gross. Helga Hufflepuff's cup.
Which Ron and Hermione destroyed in the Chamber of Secrets,
Yeah,
right?
like in about 4 lines of the book.
And that's just real quick sidebar. The movie does that better.
Yeah,
That's the one thing
I
because the
would say
movie
that.
cuts to Rupert
Them
Grint and Emma
falling
Watson,
and running
it's
the
and they're in the Chamber of
stairs,
Secrets, and I was
yeah.
excited. I'm like, they're in the Chamber of Secrets, and then they do the thing,
big
the big
basilisk,
thing, and
yeah.
then they make out, and I was like, yes, like I was so happy. It's this passionate thing.
Because
I'm
it
like,
was
great.
about the elves in this book. He's like, we've got to get rid of the elves.
That was
And
a
she
great
jumped
movie.
him.
I know, I love.
And she was like, "Oh my
that is so
God!"
Hermione,
And just
though.
like
The hottest thing ever.
yeah, that's such a
Harry's like,
Hermione
woke Ron.
thing.
She's like,
up for it.
swing, and then goes right for Ron. It was awesome. It was
And then
great.
Hermione became a woman, and hopefully didn't immediately.
And
I mean, if she
Ron
wanted to, but she
became a
clearly
man.
didn't want to. Yeah.
Ron was like, "Expecto Patronum."
Ron really grows up in this. It really
does.
grows up in this book. I'm
Really
so
shot that
upset about
stag out of
that.
his wand, you know what I'm
No, stop it.
That's silver. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Huh? I'm sorry.
now I'm really the Hermione.
Helga
On a
Hufflepuff's
scale
cup.
from 1 to 10, how excited were you when Ron and Hermione finally kissed? It's 1 out of 10 at the moment in the poll.
In the book?
No, it
in the
haven't
book?
started.
In the book, I'd say like an 8 because
In
I
the movie,
always
10. I was into it. I was cheering. Guys, I watched the last movie and I cried, I laughed. It was amazing.
I have a heart I don't know. When I read the books the first time, I really wanted her and I've said this before, her and Harry. I felt like as they became more adults, they would connect.
Yeah.
And the idea of like
They're both only child.
having
children.
a crush, and they're both a little more serious and dark, and like they can bond over that stuff, and they get each other. I don't know. I mean, that makes a good best friend
yes,
too.
You're absolutely valid.
Doesn't need to happen.
I also love the platonic
I do.
friendship.
I love that
it's
you
like,
can have
it's
that.
beautiful.
What
It's
the
great.
My
hell
best friend
is
from high
happening?
school,
Yep.
who I'm celebrating our 15-year anniversary.
Wow. Is a male?
The day, the
There you
day
go,
after
great.
his birthday this weekend.
But you're totally valid. You're
you
totally
know?
right. Though that Harry and Hermione could have been a thing, but I also really love Ron and Hermione. That works for me. I honestly
In
get
the
it.
That's a
books,
works.
yes,
perfect
and
yin
the-
and yang. They balance each other out. Can we
Are you reading
please
the
address the
Dumb-
fact that Lost and Numbers reckons that Dumbledore is the second worst villain of the series?
Interesting.
That's
And then
some,
DeMarco
that's
draws
some,
saying
the
books
that's
that made
some
me
is
hate.
Poe,
Lee,
villain of
Cut to me for a
The
second.
Last Jedi.
I'm
trolling.
gonna recreate a GIF. Lee, why would you
Which
say
we did
something?
too.
Why would you say something so crazy and yet so,
So
brave
true,
at
yeah.
the same time? Yeah.
It's
Lee.
fair because look,
Lee.
he's a human being. He believes that he is doing the right thing
Even
for
when Harry
humanity.
was trying to justify where he's like, now I'm turning into Dumbledore. Where like I'm gonna let 3 people know. I'm gonna let 3 people in on the secret, and I understand now why it's the safety, why we need to do that. So I'm gonna tell Neville
No,
about
he's
killing
like,
this snake.
He's
It's like
buttering
no.
up a pig for the slaughter, basically. He needs
Yeah.
him to volunteer.
His
so
slogan
sad.
since he was a young adult was
For
the
the-
greater good.
He's a proto wizard now. I mean,
Yeah.
It's the
Do you sacrifice one to save
many.
thousands?
Yeah.
Millions.
It makes him an immensely interesting character. I love Dumbledore as a character in the series and in the movies too. But in the book series,
Did you see
You-
the second fit? Because Jude Law.
I haven't yet, and I'm
He's
about
so-
to. Now, like I said,
You
like
didn't
I'm
like
saying,
him as no. The movie's terrible, but Jude Law as Dumbledore is
good?
my favorite
Oh,
Dumbledore.
it's not enough to make me enjoy any of it.
No, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I mean, I enjoyed.
but he's good.
Jude
No,
Law.
that's the thing. No, I can't even do
Jude
that.
Law.
Yeah, he's great.
Very much enjoyed.
He's great. Well, he'll be in Captain Marvel.
Dumbledore.
I know. I'm
That'll be great.
excited. He's great
Guys,
in
I've grown
everything.
up on X-Men comics. Professor Charles Xavier is the exact same way.
Of course, yeah, it's
Charles
a
Xavier. You're like
flawed
this guy.
mentor.
He's doing awful shit for the sort of greater good, and it makes him a very tragic character. He was also willing to sacrifice himself as part of the plan. When Snape was revealing everything with his tears or
He
with
did that to
whatever,
protect Draco. He honestly did it
exactly.
to save
he
his
saw
life.
in Draco.
His
like,
intentions are good,
we can
but
save
a
this
lot
kid.
of people's intentions are
He
good. and they still
provided
do.
Harry with the ability to not die. Yes, there were a lot
Mm-hmm.
of variables. There were chances that
No,
it
for
couldn't
sure.
happen
I'm
because
not
he no
saying
longer
he's
was personally
actually-
navigating it all.
He's a flawed person.
He's
he tried
not
his
a
best.
villain. I will fight you, Lee,
Yeah.
as a Gryffindor.
I really.
what
so I'll be gentle.
How about not villain, but how about threat or antagonist or challenge? The second greatest challenge of this series.
Yeah,
is
because
Harry having to overcome this.
The through line is him not telling him anything, is him
Yes.
hiding things
Yes.
from him that could help him. Now we know why. We had this conversation a few books ago.
The greater
good.
When he should.
What did you say? What did you just whisper
What?
into your jacket, Maud?
What did you put in the? Amazing. Yeah, I hate Dumbledore too.
What did you say?
They heard me.
They're gonna tell us.
All right, in the
We're
chat,
waiting. We're
let us know
waiting.
in 30 seconds. We'll wait.
But
We'll
no, but we said during I think it was Order of the Phoenix when he just legit won't talk to Harry and he shows up for his
Yes.
trial and
Yes.
he barely speaks
Very
to him. He wasn't,
frustrating.
and we were
Very
discussing
He
frustrating.
did it to protect him.
No, I know, but we were talking about it then and how frustrating it was that he was going so far to basically isolate Harry, and while he's suffering PTSD from Cedric Diggory, and he has to take classes about his emotional and mental strength with Snape, and Voldemort's getting in his head and no one believes him, and Rita Skeeter's writing about, like, it's all of this stuff.
I know, he's most vulnerable.
And we were saying at the time, let's wait until the end to talk about this, because we now know why he was doing it, but like, this kid already has lost everyone close to him and keeps losing them. Like,
he's the chosen one.
I know, and that's part of the arc, and it's got to be super painful for Dumbledore to have to do that. But it really, I mean, it made him who. It's the kind of thing of, if you go through something really tough, and you get out on the other side, you're like, wow, that really made me who I am today, and I'm glad I did. But going through it still sucks, you know.
Did you guys ever watch the show Dexter about the serial killer?
Yes.
So
everyone should stop after season 4.
Okay, that's fair, fine. But like 2-3 seasons into it, he like moves in with his girlfriend, and she has kids, and he starts to become this like adoptive father to these children. And the whole time, Dexter, Michael C. Hall is saying,
Darla from Buffy?
Darla from Buffy, sure. The whole time, Michael C. Hall, Dexter, is saying, "I'm a psychopath. I'm not worthy of love. I'm also incapable of love. This is all a front. This is all a sham." But when I watched that show, I went, "You're full of shit, man. You do love these people. You are capable of love." And when I was reading this and seeing that last scene where Snape's memories was hitting Harry, I thought to myself, Dumbledore, as part of his master plan, he may have done everything he did thinking for the greater good, but I also believe that he pushed Harry away because he didn't want to emotionally connect with him, because he knew what had to happen. And I think that Dumbledore took steps, especially in Goblet of Fire, and in certain moments where we're frustrated with like him not telling Harry more. I thought to myself, Dumbledore did this because he is just a man. These characters are wizards, but they're people. Yeah. He's full of shit, and he doesn't want to love Harry, but he ends up loving him. And to be clear,
I don't think Dumbledore should have like laid it all out for him. I just think there's like
that's part of the conversation. Is we read this story, what J.K.'s telling us about how this man handled his life. We're supposed to sit here and question it. We're supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to go, how would we do different? Absolutely.
Less than
than
the social.
Absolutely. I picture in my brain, years from now, me reading a chapter at night to like my kid or kids, and then afterwards having this exact same discussion where they're like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? I'm like, well, let's talk about it. That's the point of this Harry Potter story, is for you to
journey. What about Neville though? That's fun, right?
Come on. We all knew that he was going to kill that snake because of that snake in his underpants. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I did.
What are you doing?
He has a large penis. That actor has a large penis.
Maybe it was a slice of bread.
And ripped abs and...
But I love
big
that
Horcrux energy, BHG.
Oh, that I do like. That I will take.
Horcrux energy.
Because I do think
Fantastic
that
character.
BDE is much less about physical anatomy and much more about
most
an
women
attitude.
in my life have big dick energy. I
like big Horcrux. Thanks.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I love that it could have been Neville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
get
really just.
It wasn't
chance.
specific
It's
enough.
not,
it really was up in the air.
And it's not by him choosing Harry, like going there.
It set everything in motion.
Which is like, it's not fate.
It's you have a choice.
You do have a choice, and you can change from just one choice. Can make such a huge difference in everyone's life.
I think that was a brilliant masterstroke of genius from J.K. Rowling.
In the movie? Do they even touch on that in the movie?
I'm trying to remember.
The prophecy.
The prophecy was touched on a little bit, but I don't think that the movie explicitly like lets the audience know. Like, also could have been Neville. Now Neville has some badass heroic moments at the end. He kills Nagini.
Oh my gosh! When his grandmother finally said that she was proud of him.
God,
Neville's out there fighting. Of course he is.
Beautiful
He's my
moment.
son.
Excuse me,
my grandson.
I'll be right back. And then she goes like she's gonna go fight.
Yeah.
But I think that J.K. puts this in there for a couple reasons. It reminds me of Rey from Star Wars.
Yeah.
The whole point of the character Rey is to be like, you can still come from nothing and still be the hero of this story. You don't have to have midichlorians. You don't have to be a Skywalker. You don't have to be a white male. You can come from anything and still be the hero of your own life story. And that's a beautiful sentiment. And for her to put that into this book, I think it was for...
who was always
the dorkiest dork.
Like, he's part of the group, but he's on the outside. He ends up getting cursed by them in the first book, because he's like, you're going to get us in trouble again.
The lock leg
falls over. And then Dumbledore awards him with those points. But what's great is that I think that J.K. is telling the young readers, if you're reading this and you're going, God, I would love to be like a Harry Potter. but I never can be because I'm not in a prophecy. I don't come from a specific family. I don't have this fate tied around me.
That's why I like
JK's going, could be
Hermione.
somebody else, could be Neville.
And that's why I
yeah.
like Hermione and Ron also getting to destroy a Horcrux
Yeah.
on their own, because it's like Harry is always being like, you don't understand, it's my thing. And
They're like,
when they
"Homie, we
finally
did it.
let
We handled
Dumbledore's
it."
army in, and they're like,
Oh, that was nice.
I
Share
love
the
that.
load a little
yeah,
bit,
they're like,
dude.
we don't know what we're doing. They're all here. They want to fight. They've been fighting all
The
year. You
clock
don't
is
have to
ticking.
You know
and
what
you don't
death-
have to
At a
carry this
time.
on your shoulders.
You know what
Yeah.
death actually hit me pretty hard, which is not in the film, and it wasn't up as an option in the poll, which was McCreevy, that little kid.
Colin
yeah,
Creevy.
Colin.
Because
Colin
with-
Creevy, who snuck
He survived
in.
a basilisk.
without even like I've always loved that character. I thought he was a really brilliant addition to
How's
the
it
whole
going,
world.
hey? Yeah, everything looks really cool.
A fanboy.
Fanboy.
Yeah.
But the scene where he's being carried by Neville, and then that hot hunky guy's like, I got him, and puts him over his shoulder, the Quidditch dude, and then they keep going
Oliver
in.
Wood.
Oliver Wood. Harry being able to, in a
That
couple of
pun
sentences.
writes itself.
I had his picture in my locker when I was sick.
for sure.
And I've looked at it now. I'm like,
Talk about being
No,
a
I'm still
Nope.
bludger.
Nope.
I don't know. What's the Quidditch terms? Whatever.
nope.
I'll let him seek my
Okay.
snitch. Ay, ay, ay.
I'm trying,
I'm sorry.
Aaron.
Look,
I'm trying.
You know what you missed last week? I'll tell you the most important thing we missed last week. Each Harry Potter title is referencing a vagina. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter and
gotta
the
stop.
Chamber of Secrets.
You gotta stop.
The Prisoner
They're
of
gonna
Azkaban.
you're-
The Goblet of Fire. The Order of the
They're
Phoenix.
gonna come and
That-
take you off of this.
And lastly, one and part two.
So we were talking
I-
about deaths that impacted
I know.
us in this very.
Colin, because Harry
Snape,
in
nothing.
the book.
Snape, nothing, guys. And my
No.
attitude towards Snape has
Fuck
changed
Snape.
so drastically.
Yeah,
Can we
I
talk
used.
about Snape?
All
Yeah,
the-
let's talk about.
I
Snape.
didn't, you know what? Didn't crack in Albus Severus. Didn't crack, guys.
But this is different than when the
Stop
first time you read it, correct?
Ah. Okay.
Yeah,
the first
It's
time
still
I was
somehow
obsessed,
is
yeah.
in
Can
there. But when
I-
I was listening to it, I was like, I had to stop because I was again out, and like the last 19 years later happened, and I was like, pause. I'm in public. I know I'm gonna have a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, had a moment listening to it when I got home, and I was like, there it is.
And nothing.
Because
Why?
since understanding about incels and this,
Yeah,
like,
toxic
he was
men, yeah,
so
me too.
obsessive
100%.
in an unnatural way with this woman that he couldn't let her go
for
and
so long, and to like
it was
100%.
a sick obsession.
It was like how our view of Ready Player One changed, I think,
Yeah.
because we
Yours.
both
Yeah.
liked it when
Yes.
we first
Yes.
read it, and it was a different
Yes.
time
Yeah.
on the
Wow.
internet and in life, and I would agree with that. I think having
people are like, it's the most romantic thing ever that he still cared always. And
for
it's
me,
like,
it was more that it was Alan. Like by that point, because the movies were out,
Yeah.
it was Alan Rickman in my mind, and I grew up watching him in Dogma
Oh,
and
amazing.
Sense and Sensibility,
Amazing.
and he's
Love
amazing
Actually.
as and so that really got me in that. Just that sequence in the movie is so well
Orange.
done, and like the way he cries holding Lily is
It's great. In
painful.
the movie, that's true. You're
but in
absolutely
the
right.
book, when I'm reading it and knowing how Snape has been and having that experience, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That does not sit well with me.
Like,
Wow.
even though he sacrificed his whole life, he was still awful to Harry. He could still never separate the two. He punished Harry because James was the one that ended up with Lily. And like I said, I was talking to my mum about it, who's a psychologist, and she goes, it's really fascinating that the point of his trauma, which happened in high school, where he was severely bullied
Is
and
where he
lost
gets
his
stuck.
love, is where he chooses to spend his existence.
Yeah.
You know, so he's constantly like,
But emotionally, he acts like he is
Yeah.
vindictive and
Yeah.
petty.
Yeah.
And it's like he's emotionally stuck
yeah.
at that age of they're
I-
20.
I have to bring this up too. The thing about Snape that I love is Alan Rickman.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that I hate about Snape and makes me double down on the fuck Snape forever. Like
Mm.
even jokingly before I read the book, I kind of knew because of the movies what the reveal was, which is that he's loved Lily Potter this entire time. And I
Mm-hmm. Which is a
jokingly-
great reveal.
It's a beautiful reveal,
Yeah.
and his whole mission with Dumbledore, the secrecy, beautifully done in the book and in the movie. But that whole idea that him being in love with Lily, I used to jokingly jump in on the Snape sucks, but actually having read it, the thing that I keep coming back to is this trauma that he experienced in high school, which is, first of all, buddy, get over it.
Yeah.
You're-
Welcome
you
to the
are-
club.
You are an awesome guy that's capable of amazing things.
Yeah.
You have this whole
He's
life
so
in front of
smart.
you. He's so smart. He's so talented at magic. Like
He's the Half-Blood Prince.
He's the Half-Blood Prince, But the fact that after he gets rejected, essentially, by a girl in high school,
Yep.
and she doesn't even reject him. She's like, "I'm your friend," and he's
Yep.
just like in love with her, but like
she
can't get
put me
her.
in the friend zone, which means you were never friends
do you know?
to begin
do you
with.
know what Snape? Do you
Sorry.
know what Severus
But
Snape
I mean,
does after this?
how lucky is he to have a friend like her?
Of course,
Absolutely.
but that's the thing when this has happened to, I'm sure, everyone, where someone that you thought was your friend on the basis of friendship, and then something comes up, and then they can't be your friend anymore. And this is a nuanced conversation, but like
Yeah.
I have had that happen where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you weren't actually my friend. You were hoping
Everybody
for
has.
something else, and that sucks. It
sucks.
sucks. I'm sure
It
it
sucks.
sucks to be rejected, but it sucks to feel like
be
an
Lily.
entire
does.
friendship was.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know that, but I just mean compared
sucks.
with feeling like
Yeah.
your entire friendship was a lie
Yes.
or a manipulation.
Because you didn't
Yes.
get the one thing
Because
that
you didn't
wanted
get
out of
the
it.
Or-
one thing that you got from them that is so outside the realm of what your relationship was.
Or even worse, I feel bad for Lily because like she does not have the same feelings for Severus, and he does, and then but she's like, but you're my friend, and she has
Yeah.
to kind of lose that friendship.
Yeah,
like that
because
part
he
of
makes
life.
her, because he can't deal with it.
Because he can't deal with it. The frustrating thing is, after this thing
Hate it.
happens in high school, bro, get over it.
Yeah.
You know what he does? He becomes a goddamn neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
He essentially joins He Who Shall
Yeah.
Not Be Named, Voldemort, and
Which
he's
is
like,
worse
yeah,
than a
yeah,
cult.
I'm in on this.
Yeah.
Gets the Death Eater mark.
Yeah, because he's
And
an angry, rejected, isolated
And he wants
man.
to punish everyone else for the
that
pain
is
that he's
that
been
is
dealt.
the definition of toxic masculinity.
That's
Yes.
incels and the,
Absolutely.
the dude who.
So
yeah.
all of that, and I understand and I appreciate what JK was trying to do, which is to make him sympathetic, and I do feel for him, and I love the idea that
I
every
would have felt for him at like 25.
totally every
But by
bully
this
that most bullies that she describes in this book, at some point we learn, oh, they are bullies because their home life is this, their home life is that. I think Draco Malfoy is a fascinating character, and I've learned to feel for him. In the beginning, in the first book, I'm like, this kid's a piece of shit. He's entitled, he's rich, whatever.
I
And
have a
feel for
real
him.
problem with the Malfoys being let off at the end.
Let off. I
Yep.
mean, yeah.
There is no repercussion.
Draco's allowed to send his kid to
no
Hogwarts.
consequence. He was sentenced
Yeah.
to kill Dumbledore, which he attacked.
that. I
like
get
that's
that.
the most minor thing that they've done. They housed
Lucius.
the vigilante.
Yes.
They've tortured people. I'm pretty sure they've killed people. They have
They've
done
definitely killed people.
such awful things. But their
agree.
redemption is that. Oh well, I said that Harry wasn't. He was actually dead, so that I could have my son, and that's the most important thing.
For
no,
Narciss-
serve your time.
Yes,
You're done.
agreed.
That is not
Yeah.
cool.
But,
No, I agree.
But back to
Sitting
Snape.
there and no one's even paying them any attention. I'm like, get them.
Yeah.
Be done with them.
Ask
They
the man,
tortured
baby.
their house elf for like however long that was as well. Like,
The only
They
thing.
hosted, I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
They kept
The redeeming quality for the Malfoys, and really just Draco, with like this sort of 16 years later thing, or the 19 years later, is that we learn that Dumbledore saw within him, we can still save this kid. Like Dumbledore saw the world he was coming from, the family, that whole world, the pressure that people with that place that importance on status have to deal with, which is a stress, which is a pressure. So I buy that Draco could be allowed to be, and I haven't read the play yet, but I know that Draco's kid ends up being friends with Harry's kid. I think that's beautiful. I think the same thing happens in The Lion King 2 or whatever. Like Scar's child becomes friends with Simba's child.
Right.
I think that's
They should be
Shakespearean.
able, yeah, and they should.
I love that. I do like that.
If that can't happen, we will never grow.
We will
Yeah.
never grow.
If
Well,
people
that's how-
can't make
again,
mistakes,
Yes.
it's
that is
not
a taught
murder.
feeling. That is
Yes,
taught.
it is.
That is like a parent saying, "Do not like them because of my prejudice that I have," and therefore that is learnt hatred.
But
and
you can also.
That's what racism is.
But you
That's
can
what
also
bigotry is.
learn how not to be.
Yes, you can unlearn
There
it.
are
You
a
can
lot.
learn
There
it.
are, if you look at racism, sexism, those things, or even from like a cycle of abuse, parents and kids, and it
Yep.
repeats. You can be the one who, at the end of the day, says,
I don't like
I've
this."
seen
Yeah.
this happen.
I'm not gonna be a part of
I'm
it."
literally living the same thing over. Like you can see those parallels and say, this is how I'm not going to be.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's definitely difficult.
Yeah.
And I think I don't remember that much about the cursed child other than how angry I was and specific plot points that made me so angry. But I do like that. I do
Yeah.
like that element
Same.
of it because on a lesser scale, people making mistakes or, years ago not being as woke as they are now, if they have learned and will actually apologize and
Correct.
listen, et cetera, which
Correct.
a lot of famous people have not done
Correct.
in a proper way.
No,
But if
they
you
can't
do,
admit fault.
Yeah, but if you do that and you say, you know what, I didn't realize I'm listening, tell me, I'm sorry. There has to be room to change, even if it's the next generation. And so I actually, that's the one thing about the Cursed Child I
think
would
it's a
say
really
is
brilliant
okay.
idea. I did a deep dive into the Harry Potter timeline when I finished this, where I was like, wait, what happens after this? I'm so curious. And it made me want to read it. I need to go back and watch the two Fantastic Beasts movies to see how they play into this.
I don't know why they did that. I want to see the story of Teddy. Teddy's hooking up with Fleur Delacour and Bill's kid. I'm like, that sounds good. I'd be a fly on that window. Hey, we're asking you guys, now that we've read all of the Harry Potter books, we're done with them all. Which book was your favorite? Was it 1 or 2, being Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets? Was it Order of the Phoenix, Prisoner of Azkaban, Half-Blood Prince, Goblet of Fire, or the
This is
Deathly
so hard.
Hallows?
The last
Half-Blood Prince for me.
quarter of the
You have
Deathly
to pick
Hallows
the whole book, though.
makes me, I know, but it makes me want to pick the whole book, because it's almost worth it to me to deal with 3/4 of this book meandering and taking its time.
No. It's
because
too long.
to me,
I will agree
the
that-
last section is so satisfying. I'm like,
I mean, I
guys,
don't want to. I
it's
know
epic.
they
cut out
It's
some of
epic.
the camping.
They could.
That is
That's-
like flirting
like-
for 7 years just to have sex for 2 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
sorry, but that's my analogy, and I know we're trying to dip away from that, but
no,
good lord.
That's different than what's been happening. Don't start it again.
It's kind of like the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, where you see him and his kid deal with the worst life, and it's so difficult for an hour and 55 minutes baby Jaden, just for 5 minutes of like release, where it's like, you got the job, and he just like cries the one tear. Like, it's almost not worth it, because it feels so good, but you're like, guys, I went through
agony, hell,
agony for an hour and 55 minutes, and that's all you're gonna give me? Like, that's not enough.
Hold on, you're contradicting yourself right now then. Which
Why?
one? Because you just said that it's
that's
almost
what that
willing
is.
to.
Yeah.
To me, it does. That's how satisfying this ending is.
Damn. Got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Real quick.
Well done, JK.
I want to get into that, but I just want to point out, Miss Necromancer says the difference between Snape and Draco is time. Draco is at a crossroads now. His parents are fucked forever, true, but he's got a chance to change, whereas Snape went miles and miles past that crossroad.
True.
100% very, very true. You can be a shitty teenager or an extremely horrible
boy,
potentially murdering teenage. I mean, he's 17.
Yes.
And grow from that. You
That's what Ryan
can do
Sheldon
that.
Art's saying. I'm still going to give Draco a pass.
Once you get to 40,
yes,
and you're
buddy.
bullying little kids,
or 35, whatever age Snape is supposed to be in the
whatever
books.
age, 30, 25.
Come on, man.
And
Like 20. If someone is 25 and being shitty to people, I'm like, absolutely not. You are way too old to be doing
Guys,
this.
he joined the neo-Nazis.
He literally,
he did that, and then afterwards
his
came
own
back.
accord,
And then afterwards came back to
Dumbledore. I think is
only because I agree. Only because Lily died. That's what made him go like, I can't do this, man.
The one guy I trusted.
That's a
did
selfish
the one thing I asked him to.
And it's an idea of her, because if he really cared about her, he wouldn't have cut her out of his life. I think that he put her up on a pedestal, and she was supposed to save him. Like, this is textbook, this toxic stuff. Maud, what's your favorite book?
Oh, Half-Blood Prince. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, there was such a payoff seeing these children become adults, you know? I really, really liked that. We know who they were. We actually see real dynamics, real sort of like conundrums and growth. This is past. I really struggled with Order of the Phoenix and having that neglect from Dumbledore. That's really quite hard. And Umbridge just, punch her in the face.
I loved Order of the Phoenix because Umbridge was great, but it felt like the adults were finally, after 4 books, now here's the 5th one, swooping in, and they're like, Harry, we got you. This is the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, and they presented you with it like the creme de la creme, like the savior, the guardian. To be taken away instantly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's messed with my emotions too much.
Yeah.
But the Half-Blood Prince, I'm like, yeah, Draco got sliced up.
Yeah, but Dumbledore.
Yeah.
See, for me, so what was your favorite the first time you went through them, would you say?
First one. Oh,
First
Azkaban.
time. Yeah, that was my third one was my favorite.
That's my jam in the movies
and it's
too,
my
and now
favorite
I think it's
movie.
different.
And that was always my favorite. I'm gonna go with Order of the Phoenix. And I really didn't like it when I read it as a kid. And I remember Erin saying that it was her favorite, and I was like, maybe I'm gonna feel differently because I respect Erin's opinion very much. And it's true.
Erin does have good opinions.
You don't have to laugh at me, Erin. But I think dealing with the way that they dealt with PTSD in that, and kind of taking what they draw, the Dementors in book 3, they draw from that and take it to another level with the occlumency.
Yep.
Thank you. Of just the actual, some people who have PTSD or complex PTSD have flashbacks like that, and that's what he was going through. But also losing the mentor, also learning about more elements of his parents' life, how they were when they were younger, that they're not that much far away, as far away from them. But yeah, everyone's saying their favorites in the chat.
Yeah.
Please, we're running out of time. We got to really quickly hit the Maude. Do you want to say anything about the epilogue?
Oh,
Because Hector made you cry like day one with that.
no,
Albus?
guys. It still does it to me from that. But when I was reading it this time, I was just like, I loved the Albus thing. Like, I think that was great. But then it goes, they were two of the best,
And you're like,
headmasters.
no,
I was like,
Snape
no, he
was
wasn't.
not.
Yeah.
And he was
Thank
still,
you.
he was a tyrant, and he was
I
condoning
feel like Harry's
torture.
gaslit by
and he
all
was,
of these mentor figure, these
So it's like
adults.
Albus Severus Smith, but like that homage, and knowing that Teddy's named after Ted Tonks,
Yeah.
and gosh, they do so many. He's got 2 kids, Lily and James. It's
Yeah.
like, gosh, it's so on the nerves, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, it's just a lot. It's like,
It is.
you want to talk about the best sort of like, putting a bow on every little.
Do you think that the Harry Potter series, books and movies, would have been served better had there not been an epilogue? That it was
Yes.
just left at Harry at 17.
Books, no.
That's
well,
it. That's it. Like, I'm so fascinated by this because I love this idea, and I'm so curious about these characters and what their life is like as adults later. It's the same with like the Rugrats when they did like Rugrats all grown up. It's the same with like any movie or show
But
or whatever. Like,
there
Hey
is a
Arnold, what happens to
need-
those kids as adults?
But there's a need from the audience,
Yes.
which has now become a serious problem,
yes.
of wanting the ending or the
What happens next? It's like,
outcome
that's
of
it.
what you want
Yes.
versus what the story should be according to the person who's making it.
Yeah, their story.
And the problem with going that far in the future, I would have much rather seen them like
5 years later.
yes, in their 20s,
Yeah.
and like Harry's an Auror and
Yeah.
Hermione is inventing stuff and maybe a professor on the side, but doing a million things. Ron's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Hermione and Ginny are pregnant because obviously they synchronized their.
But that's the
pregnancy.
thing is that by making it happen like that, like the only character I buy that for, who I think is genuinely happy where she is Molly Weasley. And also, favorite line in the entire series, "Not my daughter, you bitch." Molly
yes,
Weasley
that got me.
for the win.
Guys, I
She's
broke
my
on that one
favorite,
as well.
favorite,
Yeah.
favorite.
She's
That's
like, everyone
awesome.
get about
And
yeah.
every
Great
time
moment
I
in the movies,
watch
too.
it,
So
I
good.
forget how many other characters she's played in other movies. She is a
Yeah.
chameleon.
Yeah.
Paddington.
Mamma Mia.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. She's done a
She's
bunch.
awesome. What
Yeah.
else? Okay.
Good.
So we've read all 7. This
did
is
it.
like the
This is
end,
an
of
end
an
of an era.
I know. I feel like we're graduating from Hogwarts.
Hector, how are you now that you've read it? You've ticked
Yeah.
this, you know.
I am emboldened in my love of the films.
That's the worst
Come on,
thing
not
you
Rachel,
the
don't
can
answer we
scoff
were
at me.
looking
Come on,
for.
Rachel. And I am
You
now.
can't throw us a bone, jeez.
Yes, I can,
man.
because I am now more than ever 100% secure in my wanting to read these books to my kids someday and also showing them the movies at the same time. I think that is a beautiful, wonderful experience. I think that.
God, I
think
wish you
that-
read them as a kid, man.
No.
Because
I
what
know.
Rach and I have, and like me being 13 years old when the first book came
Ma,
out,
you don't
trying
don't
to
cry for me,
convince my
Argentina. I had X-Men.
You leave
I'm
Argentina
fine.
out of this.
I'm fine. Do not cry for me, Argentina. I had comic books. The things that you guys got from Harry Potter, I had from superhero
No,
comic
of course.
books. Comic
I have
books that
learned
were like
not
yes.
to tell you how to raise your kids.
Sure. but I think that my love of film is strengthened by my love of this book series.
And
think
I
that-
appreciate
I-
that.
I
and I
like-
think
Big
you
deal.
reading
That's great.
them,
That's a big deal for
I
us.
think
as
I
long
think
as
that's great.
you also
Yeah.
promise to show them The Princess Bride,
Oh,
and
Yes.
maybe not
Willow.
read the books, but
I probably won't read
reenact,
the book, 'cause the book's
reenact,
pretty gross.
reenact
Yeah.
Peter Falk for them.
I will do that.
Okay, we're going to keep talking about this because there's so much we can talk about in Harry Potter. So please tweet at us. We love when you
Yeah.
guys send us your thoughts, when you send us pictures of your books.
hold on.
and
Say we're in the Harry
everything.
Potter world. Where would we be in 19 years' time? Am I Gryffindor head of
19?
house?
19?
Do you think I'm Gryffindor head of house already?
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
We're in the Harry Potter world.
Yeah.
Can it be
19?
19?
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have kids.
So then you'd be a teacher at the school
No,
too.
I feel like I would be an Auror.
Ooh, nice.
I might be a writer for their like magical newspaper. Like
for
some
the
sort of
Daily
media,
Prophet?
the Daily Prophet.
Or
I'm a writer for the Daily
for,
Prophet.
The Quibbler.
The Quibbler.
Not the Quibbler. I'm
That
a writer.
I would do.
But,
I would definitely do that.
I'm a writer for the Daily Prophet, but
Yep.
I've grown up reading the Quibbler, and I love what the Love Goods have done with it. So I'm trying to
You're-
infuse some of the
you're
Daily
getting
Prophet
them,
with the,
You're
Yes.
taking
Yeah.
them,
Absolutely.
the man down
I'm a
from the
media
inside.
figure
Totally.
in that regard.
I
yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. That's what
Also,
I'm doing.
check out the new Nerdist.com. It's still being fixed. There's bugs, but we launched it today. We've been working on it for like a year, so please go check it out. We are on Goodreads. We want to keep talking to you. Do you think you would be head of house, or do you have another?
I'm trying to think, but that's all I can get at the moment.
Yeah, keep tweeting at us. Send us what you're reading, your Harry Potter earrings, anything you've got, cat pictures, dog pictures, and we're on Goodreads, so if you have recommendations, send them to us. And we have just a brief note, Alpha Book Club will be resetting for the month of February, but we are not going away for good,
No.
we promise. We will be back in a month, maybe a little longer, with some tweaks and updates to the show, and when we're back, we're going to be reading Stormfront, the first in the Dresden Files.
Hell yeah.
Which we've been waiting for. And someone who read them said it was like the perfect mixture of our interests, because
Yes.
Ooh.
it's like
Ooh.
it's fantasy, but it's like a contemporary fantasy noir mystery detective series.
fuck,
It
I
is
like it.
awesome. I'm so excited to start.
This is
from
actually the
beginning.
best book to read after Harry Potter
Yeah.
because it is about an adult
It's
wizard
like-
called Harry.
It's like an horror. It's awesome.
He's a supernatural
Amazing.
detective.
I wish
Amazing.
that that's what they
So
ended
great.
with, was like them in their careers and they're still BFFs, but like
Yeah. That's
maybe because then you can imagine more for them
yeah.
than like 19 years later they're married and have kids and they didn't date
And
anyone else.
they're at the end of their lives. They didn't date anybody else. Harry
thank-
Potter
I married Charlie. Oh, there it is.
They're oh good, nice,
Someone's,
well
Give
done.
that guy a shout out.
Very
Dragging it out. Am I not dragging? Because that's what Charlie
Yep,
does.
I gotcha.
Oh, that's
That's
pretty
how
good.
we're ending
Yep.
this. That's how we're ending
Thank
this.
you guys so much for being a part of ABC in its current form. We cannot wait to see what the future holds. We still want to chat books with you on social media. Hit us up
Yes.
there. You have our handles, I hope. We love you all.
Aw,
Send us
everyone's
pictures.
Devo.
We're going to miss you so much not seeing you every week, but it's going to be okay. We're coming back.
Let's see
We'll
how
you
many
soon.
Dresden books you can read in that time off.
Oh my God, good.
If you're me, 7.
Bye.